Everything seemed to be going according to protocol at a hearing on the guardianship of a seriously ill millionaire businessman. But the unexpected happens when his 7-year-old daughter stands up and declares, "I am Daddy's lawyer." With a school folder in her hands, she reveals evidence, recordings, and secrets that expose her absent mother and an ambitious uncle. In that crowded courtroom, a child changes the course of justice, and the truth explodes before everyone. If this story interested you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tell us what city you're watching us from. We'll keep going. The New York County Courthouse buzzed with anticipation. Reporters jostled for position in the back row, while lawyers in crisp suits shuffled papers at their respective tables. The case of Michael Reynolds, tech magnate and founder of Rain Tech Solutions, had drawn considerable attention from both the business and legal worlds. Michael sat quietly at the defense table, his once commanding presence now diminished by illness. At 53, his body was betraying him, though his mind remained sharp. Multiple sclerosis had attacked his nervous system over the past 3 years, forcing him to use a wheelchair and occasionally slurring his speech. Despite these challenges, his eyes remained alert and watchful, especially when they landed on his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Lily Reynolds sat on a bench directly behind her father, her small legs dangling above the floor. Her chestnut hair was pulled back in a neat ponytail, and she wore a blue dress with white collar that made her look like she belonged in a school photograph rather than a high-stakes guardianship hearing. On her lap rested a worn purple backpack covered in unicorn stickers and glitter pen doodles. At the plaintiff's table sat 2 people who hadn't been part of Michael's life for years. His ex-wife, Rebecca Williams, elegant in a tailored cream suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary, whispered intently to her attorney. She had abandoned Michael and Lily 4 years ago, disappearing to pursue a modeling career in Europe, without so much as a goodbye to her daughter. Now she claimed concern about Michael's ability to care for himself and Lily, given his deteriorating health. Beside Rebecca sat James Reynolds, Michael's older brother. His presence was perhaps more surprising than Rebecca's. The brothers had severed ties after a bitter dispute over company leadership 7 years ago, when James had nearly driven Rain Tech to bankruptcy before Michael stepped in to save it. James now ran a competing firm, though with considerably less success than his brother's empire. Judge Eleanor Martinez entered the courtroom, and everyone rose. "Be seated," she instructed, adjusting her glasses as she reviewed the file before her. "We're here today regarding case number 37291, in the matter of guardianship for Michael Reynolds. I understand there are 2 petitioners seeking guardianship and control of Mr. Reynolds' financial affairs." She looked up. "Is that correct?" Rebecca's attorney, a sharp-featured woman named Valerie Harmon, stood. "Yes, Your Honor. My client, Rebecca Williams, Mr. Reynolds' ex-wife and mother of their minor child, is petitioning for guardianship and financial conservatorship. We believe Mr. Reynolds' health has deteriorated to the point where he can no longer make sound decisions regarding his care or his considerable assets, which directly impacts the welfare of their daughter." James Reynolds' attorney, a silver-haired man with an expensive watch that caught the light whenever he moved his wrist, rose next. "And my client, James Reynolds, Mr. Reynolds' brother, joins in this petition out of concern for both his brother's well-being and the family business interests." Judge Martinez nodded. "And counsel for Mr. Reynolds?" A man in his 40s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor stood. "David Chen, representing Michael Reynolds, Your Honor. My client contests both petitions and maintains he is fully capable of managing his affairs with reasonable accommodations for his physical condition. We have medical evaluations supporting this position." The judge was about to speak when a small voice pierced the formal atmosphere of the courtroom. "I object." All heads turned toward the sound. Lily Reynolds had stood up from her bench, her purple backpack clutched tightly against her chest. "Young lady," Judge Martinez said gently, "this is a courtroom proceeding. You'll need to—" "I'm my daddy's lawyer too," Lily declared, her voice surprisingly steady for a child her age. She walked forward, bypassing the gallery railing, and stood beside her father's attorney. A ripple of murmurs and even a few chuckles spread through the courtroom. Judge Martinez tapped her gavel once, silencing the room. "Sweetheart," the judge said, her tone softening, "I understand you want to help your daddy, but legal proceedings require licensed attorneys. Lily looked directly at the judge without a trace of intimidation. "I have evidence, Your Honor. Important evidence nobody else has." She unzipped her backpack and pulled out a folder, decorated with crayon drawings of hearts and stars. David Chen looked as surprised as everyone else, but quickly recovered. "Your Honor, if I may, I wasn't aware my client's daughter planned to address the court, but perhaps we could take a brief recess to discuss—" "No," Lily interrupted, her small face suddenly serious beyond her years. "They're lying about my daddy, both of them, and I can prove it." The courtroom fell silent. Michael Reynolds reached out with a slightly trembling hand and touched his daughter's shoulder. "Lilypad," he said softly, using his nickname for her. "Maybe this isn't the best—" "It's okay, Daddy," she whispered back. "I practiced." Then louder, to the judge. "They don't care about my daddy, they just want his money." Rebecca Williams stood up sharply. "This is absurd. She's being manipulated. Michael, how dare you use our child like this?" Lily turned to face her mother, her eyes narrowing. "You left us. You didn't call me on my birthdays. You didn't come when I was in the hospital with appendicitis. You didn't even send a Christmas card. But now Daddy's sick and rich and suddenly you care?" The courtroom erupted in whispers. Judge Martinez banged her gavel twice. "Order! I will have order." She looked at Lily with a mixture of concern and curiosity. "Young lady, this is most unusual, but I sense you have something significant to share. Mr. Chen, do you object to your junior counsel making a statement?" David suppressed a smile. "No objection, Your Honor." "Very well." The judge leaned forward. "Lily, I'll allow you to speak, but you must be respectful and truthful. Do you understand what it means to tell the truth in court?" Lily nodded solemnly. "Yes, Mom. Daddy says lying is the worst thing you can do because trust is like glass. Once it breaks, you can never put it back together the same way." A few people in the gallery exchanged impressed glances. "Well said," Judge Martinez replied. "Please proceed, but briefly." Lily opened her folder and pulled out a stack of papers organized with colorful tabs. "My mom doesn't live with us. She left when I was 3 and hasn't taken care of me since. My daddy does everything. He helps with my homework, comes to my school plays, makes chicken soup when I'm sick, and reads me stories every night, even when his hands hurt too much to hold the book." She pulled out a sheet of paper. "This is my report card. All A's. Daddy helps me study." She produced another document. "This is a letter from my teacher, Ms. Patterson, saying Daddy never misses a parent-teacher conference." She continued pulling out papers, doctor's notes, photographs of her and Michael at school events, birthday parties and vacations. "My daddy is sick, but his brain works fine. His doctor, Dr. Adams, wrote this." She held up a medical report. "It says Daddy can still make his own decisions." David Chen carefully took the papers, examining them with growing interest. "As for Uncle James," Lily continued, turning toward her uncle, whose face had reddened, "he tried to steal Daddy's company before I was born. Daddy saved it and made it better. Now Uncle James wants it again." James Reynolds leaned forward. "This is preposterous. The child is clearly reciting lines she's been taught." Lily responded with unexpected composure. "I learned all this by listening. Adults think kids don't understand, but we do." She turned back to the judge. "But the most important evidence is this." From her backpack, she pulled out a small recorder. "3 weeks ago, I heard Mom on the phone when she thought I was sleeping during her visitation weekend. She was talking to Uncle James." Rebecca Williams stood abruptly. "Your Honor, I object to this. Whatever that is, it was obtained without my knowledge or consent." "Sustained," the judge ruled. "Lily, I can't allow recordings made without permission." Lily's face fell, but only for a moment. "That's okay. I wrote down what they said right after." She pulled out a composition notebook with my journal written in glitter pen on the cover. "May 10th. Mom said, 'Once we get control of Michael's money and the company, we can finally live the way we deserve.' That medical report was expensive, but worth every penny if the judge believes Michael can't manage his affairs anymore." The courtroom erupted. Rebecca's face drained of color. James Reynolds stood up, pointing at Lily. "This is a farce. The child is making this up." "I'm not." Lily's voice rose above the commotion. "You both want to take me away from my daddy because of money. You don't care about me or him." Judge Martinez banged her gavel repeatedly. "Order, order in my courtroom." As the noise subsided, Michael Reynolds reached for his daughter's hand. Tears streamed down his face as he looked at her with a mixture of pride and concern. "Your Honor," David Chen said when quiet was restored, "given these serious allegations and the evidence Lily has presented, we request a full investigation before any decisions are made regarding guardianship." Judge Martinez nodded, her expression grave. "I agree. This hearing is suspended pending further investigation. I'm appointing a guardian ad litem to represent Lily's interests, and I want a full evaluation of Mr. Reynolds's cognitive abilities by an independent medical expert." She fixed Rebecca and James with a stern look. "And I want the court to investigate these allegations of conspiracy." As Rebecca and James conferred urgently with their attorneys, Lily returned to her father's side. "Did I do okay, Daddy?" she whispered. Michael pulled her close with his good arm. "You were amazing, Lilypad. Absolutely amazing." What no one in the courtroom could have predicted was that this was just the beginning of a battle that would change not only the Reynolds family forever, but perhaps the very nature of family law in New York State. The days following the initial hearing unfolded like a whirlwind for Lily Reynolds. The court had appointed Patricia Goodman as her guardian ad litem, a kind-faced woman with salt and pepper hair who explained that her job was to make sure the court considered what was best for Lily. "Think of me as your special voice in court," Patricia said during their first meeting at Michael's Upper East Side penthouse. "I'm here to make sure everyone listens to what you want and need." Lily studied Patricia carefully before nodding. "Will you help me stay with my daddy?" Patricia smiled gently. "I'll help make sure the judge knows everything important about your life with your father. Can you show me what a typical day looks like for you two?" And so Lily led Patricia through their daily routine. The morning routine where Rosa, their housekeeper of 5 years, helped Michael with his physical needs while Lily got ready for school. How Michael's assistant Trevor drove Lily to and from Westridge Academy, one of Manhattan's most prestigious private schools. The afternoons spent doing homework at the kitchen table with Michael nearby, answering questions between work calls, evenings filled with dinner conversations about everything from science to art, and finally, bedtime stories in Lily's room, which had been modified with a special chair for Michael. "He never misses a story," Lily said proudly. "Even when he has important meetings. He says I'm more important than any business deal." Patricia made notes, asked questions, and observed the genuine bond between father and daughter. The apartment was equipped with various accommodations for Michael's condition: ramps, modified furniture, and a state-of-the-art home medical station, but it was also clearly a home filled with love and stability. Meanwhile, across town in her suite at the Plaza Hotel, Rebecca Williams was fuming. The hearing had not gone as planned, and her attorney wasn't sugarcoating the situation. "This is a disaster, Rebecca," Valerie Harmon said bluntly. "The child has made you look like an absentee mother who suddenly showed up for a payday. We need to pivot our strategy immediately." Rebecca paced the luxurious suite, her Louboutin heels sinking into the plush carpet. "That little brat! Michael has obviously coached her. She's 7, for God's sake. No child that age thinks of evidence and testimony without being manipulated." "Nevertheless," Valerie continued, "we're facing an uphill battle now. Judge Martinez clearly found Lily compelling. Our best approach is to demonstrate that you've genuinely reconnected with your maternal instincts and are concerned about Michael's declining health affecting Lily's well-being." Rebecca stopped pacing and poured herself a generous glass of Chardonnay. "Fine, I'll play the concerned mother. Schedule some charity work with sick children. Get me photographed reading to orphans or whatever, and arrange another visitation with Lily as soon as possible. I need to work on her directly." "That might be difficult," Valerie cautioned. After the hearing, the judge specified that all visitations must be supervised by the guardian ad litem until further notice. Rebecca's glass froze halfway to her lips. "What? That's outrageous." "It's standard procedure when there are allegations of potential manipulation or undue influence on a child," Valerie explained. "But it might work in our favor. If you can impress the guardian ad litem with your maternal dedication, it will go a long way with the judge." Rebecca set down her glass with a sharp click against the marble side table. "Fine, I'll give the performance of my life." Her eyes narrowed as she stared out at the Central Park view. "But make no mistake, I'm not leaving New York without what I came for." James Reynolds was having an equally tense conversation in his Midtown office with his attorney, Howard Goldstein. "This is a catastrophe," James growled. loosening his tie. How did we not anticipate the kid would be a factor? She made us look like villains in a Disney movie. Howard sighed, adjusting his glasses. Children are unpredictable variables in court, but I agree. We underestimated her. The good news is that the judge still has concerns about Michael's health. The independent medical evaluation could still work in our favor. James leaned back in his leather chair, steepling his fingers. I've already thought of that. I've reached out to Dr. Lawrence Phillips. He's recognized as one of the top neurologists in the country, specializing in MS, and more importantly, he owes me a favor. Howard's eyebrows shot up. James, if you're suggesting what I think you are, I'm not suggesting anything improper, James interrupted smoothly. I'm simply ensuring that a preeminent expert in the field conducts a thorough examination of my brother's condition. If that examination happens to highlight the progressive nature of MS and its potential cognitive impacts, well, that's just medical fact, isn't it? Howard looked uncomfortable but nodded. Just be careful. Judge Martinez strikes me as someone who doesn't miss much. Don't worry, James said, rotating his chair to look out at the Manhattan skyline. I've been competing with Michael all my life. I know exactly how to beat him at his own game. Back at the Reynolds penthouse, Michael was meeting with his attorney, David Chen, and his longtime friend and business partner, Nathan Cooper. I still can't believe Lily did that, Michael said, shaking his head in amazement. I had no idea she understood so much about what was happening. David arranged papers on the dining room table. She was remarkable, Michael, but we need to be careful. Rebecca's attorney is already suggesting you coached her, which could backfire spectacularly. That's absurd, Michael protested. I've been trying to shield her from all this. She figured it out on her own. Nathan, who had been Lily's godfather since birth, smiled. Anyone who knows Lily wouldn't be surprised. She's been precocious since she could talk. Remember when she corrected that museum guide about dinosaurs when she was 4? Michael laughed, then winced as a spasm of pain shot through him. Nathan immediately reached for the medication on the nearby counter, but Michael waved him off. I'm fine, just tired. David looked concerned. Michael, you need to be prepared. The court is ordering an independent medical evaluation, and you can bet Rebecca and James will push for a doctor who will emphasize worst-case scenarios. Michael nodded solemnly. I know, but my neurologist has documented that my cognitive functions remain unaffected. This is a physical disease, not a mental one. Unfortunately, David said, they'll focus on the progressive nature of MS and the possibility of cognitive decline in the future. They'll argue that planning for your eventual incapacitation is in Lily's best interest. Michael's face hardened. Then we'll fight that too. I've already updated my advance directives and established a trust for Lily with Nathan as trustee. If, God forbid, I do become incapacitated, I've ensured Lily will be cared for by people who truly love her, not fortune hunters who abandoned her. Nathan placed a hand on Michael's shoulder. We've got your back, Mike. All of us. Michael smiled gratefully, then glanced at the clock. I should get Lily from her piano lesson. David, can you stay for dinner? Lily would love to show you her evidence folder. She's added color coding since the hearing. David laughed. I wouldn't miss it. That kid is going to be a formidable attorney someday. After David and Nathan left, Michael wheeled himself to the window overlooking Central Park. The spring greenery stretched out below him, a reminder of life's persistence even in a concrete jungle. He thought of Lily, his miracle, his reason for fighting through the pain each day. He had never expected to be a single father, had never imagined Rebecca would simply walk away from their child. But in many ways, it had been a blessing. It had forced him to prioritize what truly mattered, to be present in ways his own wealthy father never had been. The elevator chimed, and he heard Rosa greeting Lily and her piano teacher, Mrs. Abernathy. Moments later, Lily bounded into the living room. Daddy, I learned a new song today. Want to hear it? Her face was flushed with excitement, all traces of the solemn, courtroom Lily gone. Absolutely, Lily Pad. Lead the way. As Michael followed his daughter to the baby grand piano in the corner of the living room, a remnant from Rebecca's decorating phase that had fortunately remained, he felt a surge of determination. Rebecca and James might have money, influence, and underhanded tactics at their disposal, but Michael had something more powerful, the truth, and a daughter brave enough to speak it. Lily positioned her fingers carefully on the keys, and began to play a simple but lovely rendition of Für Elise. Michael watched her small hands move across the keyboard, her face a study in concentration, and made a silent promise. No matter what it took, no matter what Rebecca and James threw at them, he would protect this precious, brilliant child who had become his world. What he didn't know was that across town Rebecca was making promises of her own, promises that would set in motion events that would test Lily's courage and determination in ways none of them could have anticipated. The next morning, Lily was preparing for school when the house phone rang. Rosa answered it, then called for Michael. "Mr. Reynolds, it's the school, Ms. Winters, the principal." Michael took the call, his expression growing increasingly concerned. After a brief conversation, he hung up and turned to Lily. "Lilypad, that was Principal Winters. She says there's been a situation at school involving your mother. Apparently Rebecca showed up claiming she needed to take you to a doctor's appointment." Lily's eyes widened. "But I don't have a doctor's appointment." "I know," Michael said gently. "The school followed protocol and refused to release you without proper authorization. Principal Winters wanted to alert us and verify there was no appointment scheduled." Lily bit her lip. "Mom's trying to take me away, isn't she?" Michael wheeled closer and took her small hands in his. "No one is taking you anywhere. The school did exactly what they should have done. But Principal Winters thinks it might be good for you to stay home today, just to be safe." "I agree. Can we have a movie day?" Lily asked, trying to sound brave despite the worry in her eyes. "Absolutely," Michael smiled. "You pick the first one." As Lily ran to select a DVD, Michael placed another call, this one to David Chen. Rebecca's unexpected appearance at Westridge Academy wasn't just concerning, it potentially violated the court's temporary orders. What troubled Michael most, however, wasn't the legal implications, but the realization that the battle for Lily was escalating faster than he had anticipated. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a nagging fear took root. What if his health really did deteriorate to the point where he couldn't protect his daughter? What then? News of Rebecca's attempted school visit spread quickly. By afternoon, Judge Martinez had issued a temporary restraining order, requiring Rebecca to stay at least 500 feet away from Lily's school and to have all contact supervised by the guardian ad litem. The incident only strengthened Lily's resolve to protect her father, but it also marked the beginning of more subtle pressure tactics. 2 days later, Lily returned to school, where whispers followed her through the hallways of Westridge Academy. During lunch period, she sat alone until her best friend, Zoe Williams, joined her. "Everyone's talking about you," Zoe said, opening her lunchbox. "Maddie Taylor says her mum told her that your mum and dad are fighting over you because of money." Lily concentrated on her sandwich. "It's not like that. And Tyler says his dad read in the newspaper that you stood up in court and yelled at a judge." Zoe leaned closer. "Did you really do that?" "I didn't yell," Lily said quietly. "I just told the truth." Before Zoe could respond, Ms. Patterson, Lily's teacher, approached their table. "Lily, could I see you for a moment?" In the hallway, Ms. Patterson knelt to meet Lily's eyes. "Lily, I wanted to check if you're doing okay. I know things must be difficult at home right now." Lily straightened her shoulders. "I'm fine, Ms. Patterson. Daddy and I are handling it together." Ms. Patterson's expression softened. "You know you can talk to me any time, right? Or to Mrs. Greenfield, our school counselor." "I know," Lily nodded. "Can I go back to lunch now? Zoe's waiting." As Lily returned to the cafeteria, she noticed several parents volunteering for lunch duty watching her and whispering. One of them was Mrs. Taylor, Maddie's mum, who quickly looked away when Lily caught her staring. The weight of being observed, discussed, and analyzed was a new and uncomfortable sensation for the 7-year-old. After school, instead of Trevor picking her up as usual, Lily found Patricia Goodman waiting for her. "Hi, Lily," Patricia smiled warmly. "Your dad asked me to pick you up today. We're going to do something a little different. I'd like you to meet with someone who wants to talk to you about how you're feeling about everything that's happening." Lily climbed into Patricia's car, clutching her backpack. "You mean like a therapist?" "Daddy already took me to Dr. Rivera last year when Mum didn't come for Christmas again." Patricia nodded, impressed by Lily's vocabulary and understanding. "Similar, yes. This is Dr. Sarah Bennett. She's a child psychologist who often helps the court understand what children are thinking and feeling during family disputes." They arrived at an office building in Midtown, where Dr. Bennett welcomed them into a room filled with toys, books, and art supplies. She was younger than Patricia, with curly auburn hair and a friendly smile. "Hi, Lily," she said. "Patricia's going to wait outside while you and I chat for a bit. Is that okay?" Lily nodded cautiously. For the next hour, Dr. Bennett engaged Lily in various activities, drawing, playing with puppets, and answering questions about her home life. Lily drew her apartment with Michael in his wheelchair next to her at the piano. She created a family tree, placing Rebecca far away from the main trunk. When asked to describe her parents, she spoke of Michael with love and admiration, and of Rebecca with cautious detachment. "My mom is pretty," Lily said, coloring a picture, "and she smells nice, but she doesn't know things about me." "What kind of things?" Dr. Bennett asked. "She doesn't know I'm allergic to strawberries. She made me eat strawberry ice cream last time I visited, and I got hives." Lily continued coloring without looking up. "Daddy carries my EpiPen everywhere. He checks ingredients at restaurants. Mom just said I was being dramatic." Throughout the session, Dr. Bennett noted Lily's emotional intelligence, vocabulary, and mature understanding of her situation. She also observed genuine affection when Lily spoke of her father, contrasted with anxiety when discussing her mother and uncle. When the session ended, Dr. Bennett spoke briefly with Patricia, while Lily waited in the reception area. "She's remarkably well adjusted given the circumstances," Dr. Bennett said. "Her bond with her father is strong and healthy. I see no evidence of coaching or manipulation. In fact, I'm struck by how independently she's formed her opinions. She's unusually perceptive for her age." Patricia nodded. "That matches my observations at home. What about her relationship with her mother?" Dr. Bennett's expression grew serious. "There's significant attachment insecurity there. Lily associates her mother with abandonment and dismissal of her needs. It's concerning, especially given Rebecca's sudden reappearance and demands for custody." Meanwhile, at the Four Seasons Hotel, Rebecca and James were meeting with a public relations consultant, Diane Levinson, known for helping high-profile clients manage their image during contentious divorces and custody battles. "The narrative is working against you," Diane explained, sliding a folder across the table. "The New York Post ran this story this morning. The headline read, 'Daddy's Little Advocate, 7-year-old stands up to money-hungry mom in court.'" Rebecca threw the newspaper down in disgust. "This is ridiculous. They're making me look like a villain." "Because you're acting like one," Diane said bluntly. "Showing up at her school was a catastrophic move. It validated every negative thing Lily said about you in court." "I just wanted to see my daughter," Rebecca protested weakly. James scoffed. "Save the performance, Becca. We're paying Diane to fix this mess, not to believe your motherhood act." Diane ignored their bickering and continued. "We need to shift public perception immediately. I've arranged for you to volunteer at Children's Hospital next week, reading to sick kids, bringing toys, the works. We'll have a photographer from People magazine there to capture your private moments of compassion." Rebecca nodded. "Good. What else?" "You need to be seen creating a home for Lily," Diane continued. "I suggest leasing a child-friendly apartment near Westridge Academy, decorating a beautiful room for her. Make it clear you're planning for a future with your daughter." "I've already got my eye on a place in Carnegie Hill," Rebecca said. "Walking distance to the school." Diane made notes. "Perfect. Now about your public statements. No more comments about Michael's money or the company. From now on, every interview focuses exclusively on your concern for Lily's welfare, given Michael's health challenges." As they continued strategizing, across town at Columbia University Medical Center, Michael was undergoing his court-ordered medical evaluation with Dr. Lawrence Phillips, the specialist James had mentioned to his attorney. Dr. Phillips was thorough, conducting physical examinations, cognitive assessments, and reviewing Michael's complete medical history. Throughout the evaluation, Michael noticed the doctor's focus on worst-case scenarios and potential future complications. "Mr. Reynolds," Dr. Phillips said as the examination concluded, "your current cognitive function appears intact, but you understand that multiple sclerosis is unpredictable. Many patients experience cognitive decline as the disease progresses." Michael met his gaze steadily. "I'm well aware of the possibilities, Doctor. I've been living with this diagnosis for 3 years, but possibility isn't certainty, and I've made extensive arrangements in case my condition worsens." Dr. Phillips made notes without responding. We'll have the full report ready for the court within 2 weeks. That evening, as Michael helped Lily with her homework, he noticed she was unusually quiet. "Everything okay, Lilypad?" he asked gently. Lily didn't look up from her math worksheet. "Kids at school are talking about us, about the court and Mom and everything." Michael set down his pen. "I'm sorry, sweetheart, that must be hard. Maddie's mom told her not to play with me anymore," Lily continued, her voice small. "She said our family has problems." Michael felt a surge of anger but kept his voice calm. "All families have challenges, Lily. Some are just more visible than others. True friends stand by you during difficult times." Lily finally looked up, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "What if the judge makes me go live with Mom? What if I can't see you anymore?" Michael moved his wheelchair closer and pulled Lily onto his lap, holding her tightly. "That's not going to happen. The judge wants what's best for you, and we're showing her that's right here with me." "But what if—" "No what ifs tonight," Michael interrupted gently. "Let's focus on what we know for sure. I love you more than anything in the world. You are smart and brave and kind. And we have many people helping us. Mr. Chen, Ms. Goodman, Dr. Bennett, Uncle Nathan. We're not alone in this fight." Lily nestled against his chest. "Promise you won't let them take me away." "I promise to do everything in my power to keep us together," Michael answered, choosing his words carefully. "Some things are outside our control, but I will never stop fighting for you. That's a promise I can absolutely keep." As Lily finally fell asleep that night, clutching her favorite stuffed elephant, Michael sat beside her bed longer than usual, watching her peaceful face. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, another supervised visit with Rebecca, more preparations for the upcoming hearing, another physical therapy session to combat his increasing muscle weakness. But for now, in the quiet of Lily's room, with the nightlight casting star patterns on the ceiling, Michael allowed himself a moment of pure gratitude for this extraordinary child who had brought such meaning to his life. What he couldn't know was that across town Rebecca was on the phone with a private investigator she had hired without her attorney's knowledge or approval. "I need something concrete on Michael," she was saying, "something that would make even the most sympathetic judge question his ability to parent. There must be something. Medication side effects, business improprieties, inappropriate caregivers. Find me leverage." The next morning, Lily prepared for her supervised visit with Rebecca with visible reluctance. Patricia arrived to accompany them to a neutral location, a family-friendly restaurant in a nearby hotel where Rebecca was waiting. "Remember," Patricia said gently as they approached, "this is just a short visit. I'll be with you the whole time. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, just give me our signal." Lily nodded, squeezing Patricia's hand. They had established that if Lily tugged her earlobe, it meant she wanted the visit to end. Rebecca was already seated at a corner table, a bright smile fixed on her perfectly made-up face. She wore a casual yet obviously expensive outfit, designer jeans, a silk blouse, and minimal jewelry, a stark contrast to her usual glamorous appearance. "Lily, sweetheart." Rebecca stood, arms outstretched. "I've missed you so much." Lily allowed herself to be hugged briefly before sliding into the chair furthest from her mother. Patricia sat between them, notebook discreetly placed on her lap. "I ordered chocolate chip pancakes, your favorite," Rebecca said brightly. "I like blueberry pancakes," Lily corrected quietly. "I always have." Rebecca's smile faltered momentarily before returning at full wattage. "Of course, silly me, we'll change the order." As the awkward breakfast continued, Rebecca attempted to engage Lily with questions about school, friends, and activities. Lily answered politely but minimally, her guard clearly up. When Rebecca mentioned the apartment she was decorating just for them, Lily's hand moved unconsciously toward her earlobe before dropping back to her lap. What none of them realized was that at a nearby table, partially hidden behind a newspaper, sat a man with a telephoto lens camera, discreetly capturing their interaction. The private investigator Rebecca had hired, documenting Lily's apparent discomfort for reasons that would soon become clear. The courtroom was more crowded than ever when they reconvened 3 weeks later. Word had spread about the 7-year-old who'd stood up for her father, drawing public interest and media attention. Several major networks had requested permission to televise the proceedings, which Judge Martinez promptly denied. "This is a family matter concerning a minor child," she'd stated firmly, "not entertainment." Nevertheless, the gallery was packed with reporters clutching notepads, wealthy socialites curious about Rebecca's return to New York, and a smattering of disability rights advocates who'd taken an interest in Michael's case. Lily sat with Patricia Goodman in a small anteroom, waiting to be called if needed. Michael had requested that she be spared from sitting through hours of testimony unless her presence was specifically required. Judge Martinez had agreed, appointing a court officer to stay with them and provide updates. Inside the courtroom, Michael's wheelchair was positioned beside David Chen at the defense table. Despite his worsening physical condition, he'd experienced a significant flare-up of symptoms following the stress of recent weeks. He looked composed in a tailored suit, his posture as dignified as his illness would allow. Rebecca sat at the plaintiff's table, the picture of understated maternal concern in a conservative navy dress, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. James sat beside her, equally subdued in a charcoal suit that deliberately lacked his usual flashy accessories. Judge Martinez called the hearing to order, then addressed the courtroom. "Before we begin, I want to make something abundantly clear. This is not a circus, not a media event, and certainly not a battlefield for business or personal vendettas. This court's sole concern is determining what arrangement best serves the interests of Lily Reynolds. Anyone who loses sight of that priority will find themselves promptly removed from these proceedings. Is that understood?" All attorneys nodded in agreement. "Very well. Let's proceed with the independent medical evaluation. Dr. Phillips, please approach." Dr. Lawrence Phillips took the stand and was sworn in. He presented his credentials: Harvard Medical School, fellowship at Mayo Clinic, numerous publications on multiple sclerosis, before turning to his evaluation of Michael. Mr. Reynolds exhibits the classic presentation of relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, now transitioning to secondary progressive MS, Dr. Phillips explained. His physical limitations are significant and advancing. Upper limb function is compromised, mobility is severely restricted, and fatigue is a substantial daily factor. "And his cognitive function," Rebecca's attorney prompted. "Current cognitive testing shows intact function," Dr. Phillips acknowledged. "However, approximately 40 to 65% of MS patients develop some cognitive impairment as the disease progresses. Given the aggressive nature of Mr. Reynolds' disease course, cognitive decline is a statistical probability within the next 5 to 10 years. David Chen stood. "Dr. Phillips, is it not true that many MS patients never experience significant cognitive impairment, regardless of their physical symptoms?" "That is correct," Dr. Phillips admitted. "Some patients maintain cognitive clarity throughout the disease course." "And has Mr. Reynolds shown any signs of cognitive impairment to date?" "No, he has not." "So your testimony about future cognitive decline is speculative, correct?" Dr. Phillips shifted uncomfortably. "It's based on statistical probabilities, not speculation." "Yet you can't say with any certainty that Mr. Reynolds will experience cognitive decline." "No, I cannot say that with certainty." David nodded. No further questions. Next, Dr. Sarah Bennett took the stand to present her psychological evaluation of Lily. She spoke warmly but professionally about her sessions with the child. "Lily Reynolds demonstrates exceptional emotional intelligence and verbal skills for her age," Dr. Bennett testified. "She has a secure attachment to her father and clear understanding of her family situation. I found no evidence of coaching or parental alienation in her statements regarding her mother. Rather, her concerns about her mother appear to stem from genuine experiences of abandonment and inconsistent parenting." Rebecca's attorney cross-examined aggressively. "Dr. Bennett, isn't it possible that a child of Lily's age could be subtly influenced by her primary caregiver without realizing it?" "Possible but unlikely in this case," Dr. Bennett replied firmly. Lily provided specific, detailed examples of her experiences with both parents that correspond to documented events. Her emotional responses are consistent with those experiences, not with implanted narratives. "And what about her relationship with her mother going forward?" the attorney pressed. "With consistent, reliable contact and demonstrated commitment from Ms. Williams, their relationship could certainly improve," Dr. Bennett answered. "However, abrupt changes to Lily's living situation would likely cause significant emotional distress and potentially lasting psychological harm." As the testimony continued, Michael noticed James passing notes to Rebecca's attorney, his expression increasingly tense. Something was coming, Michael could feel it. His suspicion was confirmed when Rebecca took the stand after lunch. She presented a carefully crafted image of maternal devotion, expressing tearful regret for her past absence and passionate concern for Lily's future. "I made terrible mistakes," Rebecca admitted, her voice breaking convincingly. "I was young, selfish, and overwhelmed by motherhood. I will regret leaving Lily every day of my life." "And why have you returned now?" her attorney asked. "When I learned about Michael's deteriorating condition, I realized Lily needed me," Rebecca said. "No child should have to become their parent's caretaker. I've seen it happening already. Lily constantly watching Michael, worrying about him, trying to help him. It's an inappropriate burden for a 7-year-old. David Chen objected immediately. "Your Honor, Ms. Williams is characterizing Mr. Reynolds' relationship with his daughter without evidence." "I have evidence," Rebecca's attorney interjected smoothly, producing a folder. "With the court's permission, we'd like to introduce these photographs taken during recent weeks." Judge Martinez reviewed the photographs, her expression unreadable, before allowing them to be entered into evidence. They were displayed on monitors throughout the courtroom. The first showed Lily helping Michael with his medication, her small face creased with concentration as she arranged pills in a dispenser. Another captured her retrieving an item from a high shelf that Michael couldn't reach. A third showed her running ahead to hold a door open for his wheelchair. "These were taken by a licensed investigator," Rebecca's attorney explained. "They demonstrate that despite Mr. Reynolds' best intentions, his condition has effectively reversed the parent-child role in many situations. Lily is taking on caretaking responsibilities well beyond what's appropriate for her age." Michael felt his heart sink as the courtroom murmured. The photos, while technically accurate, completely misrepresented his relationship with Lily. Yes, she sometimes helped him, but he had always been careful to maintain appropriate boundaries to ensure she remained a child, not a caregiver. David Chen requested a brief recess to review the new evidence, which Judge Martinez granted. In the hallway, he conferred urgently with Michael. "This is a calculated move," David said. "They're trying to shift the narrative from greedy ex-wife to concerned mother protecting her child from inappropriate burdens." Michael rubbed his temples, fighting a stress headache. "Those pictures are completely out of context. Yes, Lily helps sometimes, she likes feeling useful. But Rosa handles all my personal care, and Trevor assists with physical tasks. Lily is never responsible for my well-being." "We need to counter this immediately," David said. "I'm going to call Rosa and Dr. Rivera, Lily's regular therapist, as rebuttal witnesses, and I think we should consider having Lily testify again." Michael shook his head firmly. "Only as a last resort. I don't want to put her through that if we can avoid it." When court resumed, David cross-examined Rebecca with barely contained indignation. "Ms. Williams, when exactly did this maternal concern for Lily develop? Was it before or after you learned about Mr. Reynolds' $300 million valuation in last month's Forbes?" "Objection," Rebecca's attorney called. "Argumentative." "I'll rephrase," David said smoothly. "Ms. Williams, prior to your petition for guardianship, when was your last communication with Lily?" Rebecca shifted uncomfortably. "I sent her a birthday card in January. And before that? I called at Christmas." "Did you speak with her?" Rebecca looked down. "No, she was unavailable." "Because she was in the hospital with appendicitis, correct? An emergency surgery you weren't aware of because you hadn't provided any contact information for nearly 8 months. Rebecca had no answer. David continued relentlessly. "In fact, in the 4 years since you left, you've spent a total of 37 days with your daughter. You've missed 3 of her birthdays entirely. You didn't attend a single school event, doctor's appointment, or parent-teacher conference, is that correct?" "Yes, but..." "And during those same 4 years, you've been photographed at fashion shows in Milan, film festivals in Cannes, and on yachts in Monaco. You've had time for 3 different high-profile relationships, but couldn't find time for your daughter. Is that accurate?" Rebecca's carefully constructed facade began to crack. "You don't understand. I wasn't ready to be a mother. I'm ready now." "How convenient that your readiness coincides exactly with Mr. Reynolds' health challenges and business success," David observed dryly. The testimony continued with Rosa, the housekeeper, who had been with the family for 5 years. "I handle all of Mr. Reynolds' personal care needs," she testified firmly. "Lily is never responsible for her father's medical care, bathing, dressing, or other intimate assistance. She is treated as a child in the household, not as a caregiver." Dr. Rivera, Lily's regular therapist, testified next. "I've been working with Lily since shortly after Ms. Williams's departure. She has adjusted remarkably well to her family situation and shows no signs of inappropriate parentification or caregiver burden. Her relationship with her father is healthy, loving, and appropriate." As the day wore on, James Reynolds took the stand. Unlike Rebecca, he made no pretense of familial concern, instead focusing on the business implications of Michael's condition. "Raintech employs over 5,000 people," James testified. "The company's stability affects not just those employees and their families, but the broader tech ecosystem and market. Michael's declining health has already impacted quarterly projections. As his brother and the company's former COO, I'm uniquely positioned to ensure business continuity, while Michael focuses on his health and Lily." David's cross-examination was brief but devastating. "Mr. Reynolds, isn't it true that during your tenure as COO, Raintech lost $142 million and nearly filed for bankruptcy?" James flushed. "There were market factors, and after Michael removed you from leadership, the company not only recovered but tripled in value within 2 years, correct?" "Yes, but—" "No further questions," David said, returning to his seat. As the hearing approached its end, Judge Martinez called for closing arguments. Rebecca's attorney emphasized the progressive nature of Michael's condition and the importance of planning for Lily's future before a crisis occurs. James's attorney stressed the interconnection between Michael's health, business interests, and Lily's long-term financial security. When David Chen rose for his closing argument, he took a different approach. "Your Honor, this case appears complicated, with medical experts, psychological evaluations, and business considerations. But at its heart, it's remarkably simple. This is about a little girl who loves her father, and a father who has been the consistent, loving presence in her life. It's about protecting that relationship from those who abandoned it when it wasn't profitable, only to return when they smelled money." He gestured toward Michael. "Yes, Michael Reynolds has multiple sclerosis. Yes, his physical abilities are limited and may become more so. But his capacity to love, guide, and provide for his daughter remains undiminished. He has built a support system specifically designed to ensure Lily's needs are met, regardless of his health fluctuations." David walked closer to the bench. "The question before this court isn't whether Michael Reynolds is sick. He is. The question is whether that illness justifies removing a child from the only stable parent she's ever known, and placing her with a mother who has repeatedly demonstrated that her own interests come first, or with an uncle whose business acumen nearly destroyed the very company he now covets." He paused, letting his words settle. "Lily Reynolds deserves better. She deserves to stay with the parent who has never left her side, who has structured his entire life around her well-being, and who loves her more than any company, fortune, or even his own health. She deserves to stay with her father." Judge Martinez thanked all parties and announced she would review the evidence and testimony before making her ruling. "This is not a decision I take lightly," she said. "I'll announce my ruling tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Court is adjourned." As everyone filed out, Michael found Patricia and Lily waiting in the hallway. Lily immediately ran to him, climbing onto his lap as he opened his arms. "How did it go, Daddy? Did we win?" Michael hugged her tightly. "The judge needs time to think about everything she heard today. We'll know tomorrow." Lily's face fell slightly, but she nodded bravely. "Okay, can we get ice cream while we wait?" Michael laughed, grateful for her resilience. "Absolutely. I think we've earned it." As they headed toward the elevator, Rebecca appeared at the end of the hallway, watching them. For a brief moment, her carefully composed expression slipped, revealing something that looked almost like genuine regret. Then James appeared beside her, whispered something in her ear, and the mask returned. Michael noticed none of this, focused entirely on Lily's animated description of a book she'd been reading with Patricia. But as the elevator doors closed, Lily looked back, her eyes meeting Rebecca's across the distance. Something passed between mother and daughter in that moment, a question perhaps, or a challenge. Whatever it was, it would prove significant in the hours to come. That evening, after ice cream and a trip to Lily's favorite bookstore, Michael tucked his daughter into bed. She had been unusually quiet during dinner, pushing her food around her plate rather than eating it. "What's on your mind, Lilypad?" Michael asked, smoothing her hair away from her forehead. Lily looked up at him with solemn eyes. "What happens if the judge picks Mom?" Michael took a deep breath. They had avoided this conversation, focusing instead on positive possibilities. But Lily's directness deserved honesty. "If that happens, we'll appeal the decision," he explained gently. "That means asking another judge to look at the case again." "But what if it doesn't work?" Lily persisted. "What if I have to go live with Mom?" Michael carefully considered his words. "Then we would make the best of it. You would still see me regularly. I would call you every day, and I would never ever stop working to bring you home." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "I don't want to live with her. She doesn't even know me." "I know, sweetheart," Michael said, his heart breaking. "But no matter what happens tomorrow, I need you to remember something important. Can you do that?" Lily nodded, wiping her eyes. "Sometimes in life we have to face things that aren't fair, things we can't control, no matter how hard we try." He touched his leg, acknowledging his own battle with MS. "When that happens, we have two choices. We can let it break us, or we can find the strength to keep going, to look for new solutions, to never give up." He reached for the small wooden box on Lily's nightstand and opened it, revealing a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a lily flower. "This was your grandmother's. I was saving it for your 10th birthday, but I think now is the right time." As he fastened it around her slender wrist, he continued, "Whenever you feel scared or alone, look at this and remember, you come from a long line of strong people who don't give up. No matter what happens tomorrow, we will face it together, even if we're not in the same house." Lily threw her arms around his neck. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, Lilypad, more than anything in this world." Across town at the plaza, Rebecca sat at the vanity in her suite, removing her makeup. The woman reflected in the mirror looked tired, the carefully maintained facade cracking around the edges. She reached for her phone and scrolled through old photos until she found what she was looking for. A picture of herself holding newborn Lily in the hospital, Michael beaming beside them. They had been so young then, so hopeful. Rebecca barely recognized that version of herself, the one who had thought she wanted motherhood, marriage, the whole package. She had tried, genuinely tried, for 3 years before the walls started closing in. Before every cry from Lily felt like an accusation, every domestic task a chain around her neck. She had run away not just from motherhood, but from her own failure at it. It had been easier to reinvent herself in Europe, to pretend that chapter of her life had never happened. But seeing Lily in court, so smart, so brave, so clearly her father's daughter, had stirred something unexpected. Not maternal instinct exactly, but something more complicated. Pride, perhaps. Regret. Curiosity about the person her daughter was becoming without her. A sharp knock interrupted her thoughts. James entered without waiting for an invitation, a tumbler of scotch in his hand. "Why the long face?" he asked, dropping into an armchair. "Everything's going according to plan. Chen walked right into our trap with those photos." Rebecca turned from the mirror. "Do you ever wonder if we're doing the right thing?" James snorted. "Getting what we deserve after Michael screwed us both over? Absolutely." "He didn't screw me over," Rebecca said quietly. "I left. That was my choice." "A choice he made sure you paid for," James reminded her. "No alimony, minimal child support, total control of the company shares that should have been part of your settlement." "Because I abandoned my child," Rebecca said, the words tasting bitter. The judge was clear about that. James studied her with narrowed eyes. "Don't tell me you're getting cold feet. Not now when we're so close." Rebecca shook her head. "No, I'm committed. I saw them together today after court. She adores him. Of course she does. He spoiled her rotten and filled her head with stories about you." James drained his scotch. "Once you have custody, she'll adjust. Kids are adaptable." "And if she doesn't?" James shrugged. "Then she'll go to boarding school in a few years, and you'll have control of her trust fund and your share of Michael's estate when his health inevitably fails. Either way, we win." Rebecca turned back to the mirror, avoiding her own reflection. "Right, we win." Meanwhile, at David Chen's office, an emergency strategy session was underway. Michael, David, Nathan, and 2 junior associates huddled around a conference table covered with documents. "The photos were a blindside," David admitted. They've successfully shifted the narrative from greedy ex-wife to concerned mother protecting an overburdened child. We need to counter that before tomorrow's ruling. What about the context of those photos? Nathan asked. They're completely misleading. One of the junior associates, Emma Castillo, spoke up. I've been reviewing Ms. Goodman's home visit reports. She specifically noted that Lily helps her father because she wants to, not because she's required to. She documented Michael redirecting Lily when she tried to take on inappropriate tasks. That's helpful, David nodded, but I'm concerned the damage is already done. Judge Martinez saw those photos. Michael, who had been quiet until now, straightened in his wheelchair. What about our video, the one from Lily's birthday last month? Nathan's eyes widened. The treasure hunt video, that's perfect. Michael explained to the others, for Lily's birthday I created a treasure hunt throughout our apartment. Each clue led to a small gift, and another clue eventually leading to her main present, a telescope she'd been wanting. Nathan recorded the whole thing. Emma pulled up the video on her laptop. It showed Lily racing excitedly from room to room, following elaborate clues that Michael had clearly spent hours creating. He followed in his wheelchair, delighting in her joy. When she struggled with a particularly difficult puzzle, he offered guidance rather than solutions, encouraging her to work through it herself. The video captured a father devoted to his daughter's happiness and development, not a child burdened with adult responsibilities. This directly contradicts their narrative, David said excitedly. It shows the actual dynamic between you two. Michael as the parent, Lily as the child. Can we get this to Judge Martinez tonight? I'll file an emergency motion to supplement the record, Emma volunteered. I'll cite the new evidence rule and the need to provide context for the misleading photographs. As they worked late into the night preparing the motion, across the city, something unexpected was happening. Rebecca Williams stood in the lobby of Michael's building arguing with the doorman. I understand it's late, Mr. Diaz, but this is important, she insisted. I need to see Michael before tomorrow's hearing. I'm sorry, Ms. Williams, but Mr. Reynolds left strict instructions not to admit you without prior arrangement, the doorman replied firmly. Rebecca clutched her purse tighter. Then call him. Tell him. Tell him it's about Lily's future, please. Something in her tone must have convinced him, because after a moment's hesitation he picked up the phone. To Rebecca's surprise, Michael agreed to see her. Minutes later, she stepped into the penthouse apartment she had once called home. It had changed since her time there, adapted for Michael's wheelchair with ramps and modified furniture, but also warmer somehow, filled with evidence of Lily's presence. Artwork on the refrigerator, a child-sized desk in the corner of the living room, photographs everywhere. Michael wheeled himself into the room, his expression guarded. Rebecca, this is unexpected, I know. Thank you for seeing me. She remained standing awkwardly by the door, suddenly unsure why she had come. Lily's asleep, Michael said. If you're here to see her... No, Rebecca interrupted. I'm here to see you. To talk about tomorrow. Michael raised an eyebrow but gestured toward the couch. I'm listening. Rebecca sat down, smoothing her skirt nervously. The things your lawyer said today about my motives, they're not entirely wrong. Michael said nothing, waiting. When I first came back, it was about the money, she admitted. James approached me with the plan. He said you were getting worse, that you couldn't take care of Lily properly, that we could both get what we wanted. He would get control of the company, and I would get financial security. And Lily? Michael asked quietly. What would she get in this arrangement? Rebecca looked away. I told myself she'd be fine, that children adapt, that maybe I could learn to be a mother, a good one this time. But then I saw her in court that first day. So brave, so loyal to you. And during our supervised visits, I realized... Rebecca's voice faltered. I realized I don't know her at all. Her favorite color, her favorite book, what makes her laugh or cry, I missed all of that. She looked up, meeting Michael's gaze directly. I'm not going to lie and say I've had some magical maternal transformation. I haven't, but I did realize something today, watching you two together after court. What's that? Taking her from you would be cruel, to both of you. Rebecca stood up abruptly. I'm withdrawing my petition in the morning. Michael stared at her in disbelief. Just like that? What about James? Rebecca's expression hardened. James doesn't care about Lily, he never did. This was always about rain tech for him, about beating you finally. He won't be happy about your withdrawal. No, he won't, Rebecca agreed. But it's my decision. I'll deal with the consequences. As she turned to leave, Michael called after her. Rebecca, why tell me this tonight? Why not just surprise everyone in court tomorrow? She paused at the door. Because I wanted you to know that whatever else I've done wrong, and it's a long list, I did this one thing right. For Lily. She hesitated, then added softly, and for you. You've been a better parent than I could ever be. With that, she was gone, leaving Michael staring after her in stunned silence. The next morning, the courtroom was even more crowded than before. News of Rebecca's midnight visit to Michael's apartment had somehow leaked to the press, fueling speculation about last-minute negotiations or secret settlements. Judge Martinez called the court to order precisely at 9 a.m. Before I announce my ruling, are there any matters counsel wishes to address? To everyone's surprise, Rebecca stood up before either attorney could speak. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would like to address the court directly. After a moment's consideration, Judge Martinez nodded. Proceed, Ms. Williams. Rebecca walked to the front of the courtroom, her hands trembling slightly. Your Honor, I came to this court seeking custody of my daughter, claiming it was out of concern for her welfare. The truth is more complicated. A murmur ran through the gallery as Rebecca continued. I abandoned Lily and Michael 4 years ago because I wasn't ready to be a mother. I wasn't willing to make the sacrifices parenthood requires. That hasn't fundamentally changed. Her attorney tried to interrupt, but Rebecca waved her off. I returned primarily for financial reasons, persuaded by James Reynolds that this was an opportunity to secure my future. It was wrong, and I regret it deeply. She turned to look at Michael. Michael Reynolds is an extraordinary father. Despite his physical challenges, he has provided Lily with stability, love, and guidance that I never could. Taking her from him would be an injustice I cannot participate in. Rebecca faced the judge again. Therefore, I am withdrawing my petition for guardianship. Furthermore, I will be signing the papers, Mr. Jen has prepared formalizing Michael's full legal custody and establishing a visitation schedule that prioritizes Lily's comfort and adjustment. James Reynolds shot to his feet. Your Honor, this is outrageous. Ms. Williams cannot... Mr. Reynolds, Judge Martinez interrupted sharply. Ms. Williams has the right to withdraw her own petition. Unless you can establish independent standing for your petition without joining hers, which I strongly doubt given your minimal contact with your niece, your petition is effectively moot as well. Rebecca returned to her seat, avoiding James's furious glare. Judge Martinez shuffled her papers, then addressed the courtroom. In light of Ms. Williams's withdrawal, I will not deliver my planned ruling. Instead, I will accept the withdrawal of both petitions with prejudice, meaning they cannot be refiled on the same grounds. She looked directly at James. I will, however, note for the record that based on the evidence presented, I would have ruled in Mr. Reynolds' favor regardless. She turned to Michael. Mr. Reynolds, this court finds no reason to interfere with your guardianship of your daughter. The support system you have established appears more than adequate to address any challenges your health condition may present. The judge then surprised everyone by addressing Lily directly, who had been brought in for the ruling. Lily Reynolds, approach the bench, please. Lily walked forward hesitantly, looking small but determined in her navy blue dress. Judge Martinez smiled warmly. Lily, I want to tell you something important. In all my years as a judge, I've rarely seen such courage and loyalty as you've shown. Your father is very lucky to have you in his corner. Lily nodded solemnly. I'm lucky to have him too, Your Honor. I believe that's true, the judge agreed. Family isn't just about biology. It's about who shows up, who stays, who puts your needs before their own. Remember that as you grow up. I will, Lily promised. As Judge Martinez adjourned the court, the room erupted in conversation. Michael wheeled over to Lily, pulling her into a tight embrace. Across the room, Rebecca watched them for a moment before quietly slipping out a side door, unnoticed by the reporters who were focused on the victorious father and daughter. Outside the courthouse, Michael and Lily emerged to find a crowd of reporters and photographers waiting. David Chen fielded most of the questions, while Michael and Lily prepared to leave. As Trevor brought the car around, Lily tugged on Michael's sleeve. "Daddy, what happens now with Mom, I mean?" Michael considered the question carefully. "Your mother has agreed to a visitation schedule. You'll see her occasionally if you want to, but your home is with me and she can't change her mind again." "No, sweetheart." The judge made her decision final. Lily seemed to process this information, her expression thoughtful. I think I might want to see Mom sometimes. Not a lot, but sometimes. Is that okay?" Michael kissed the top of her head. "Of course it's okay. Feelings about parents are complicated even when they've made mistakes. You get to decide what relationship you want with her, and I'll support whatever you choose." As they drove away from the courthouse, leaving behind the media frenzy, Michael gazed at his daughter, marveling at her resilience. They had weathered this storm together, emerging stronger for it. Whatever challenges his health might bring in the future, he knew now more certainly than ever that they would face them the same way. Together, with courage and unwavering love. What neither of them could have anticipated, however, was that their courtroom battle had caught the attention of someone who would change the course of their lives in unexpected ways. Someone who had been watching the case unfold with personal and professional interest from afar. Someone whose own experience with family court injustice had left an indelible mark. But that part of their story was just beginning. 8 years passed. The Reynolds case faded from public memory, replaced by newer scandals and heartwarming stories. But for Lily Reynolds, now 15, that courtroom battle had shaped her life in profound ways. Lily stood in front of her bedroom mirror, adjusting the navy blazer of her debate team uniform. She had grown tall and graceful, with the same chestnut hair and determined eyes that had captivated the courtroom years ago. On her wrist, she still wore the silver lily bracelet her father had given her the night before the final hearing. "Lily Pad," Michael called from the living room. "Senator Abernathy is on the line. She wants to speak with you before the hearing." Lily grabbed her note cards and hurried down the hallway of their Gramercy Park townhouse. They had moved from the penthouse 3 years ago, after Michael's condition necessitated a more accessible living space. The townhouse had been completely renovated, with state-of-the-art accessibility features, including an elevator and smart home technology that allowed Michael to control much of his environment by voice. Michael's health had declined progressively over the years, as his doctors had predicted. He now had limited use of his arms and required a motorized wheelchair, but his mind remained sharp as ever. He had stepped back from day-to-day operations at Raintech, assuming the role of chairman of the board while grooming a successor for the CEO position. This arrangement allowed him to focus on his health, Lily and the Reynolds Family Foundation, a non-profit they had established to advocate for children in family court proceedings. Lily took the phone, her expression serious. "Good morning, Senator Abernathy. Yes, I'm prepared for today's testimony. Thank you for the opportunity." After finishing the call, she sat beside her father's wheelchair. "She thinks the committee will vote today. If they approve the bill, it goes to the full Senate next month." Michael squeezed her hand with the limited strength he had left in his fingers. "I'm so proud of you, Lily. Not many teenagers would spend their summer vacation lobbying for legislative change." Lily smiled. Not many teenagers had to stand up in court at age 7 either. The Lily Reynolds Act, as it had come to be known in legislative circles, would require courts to consider the direct testimony of children in custody and guardianship cases, providing appropriate accommodations based on age and maturity. It would also mandate independent advocates for children in all family court proceedings and establish stricter standards for guardianship claims involving wealthy families. Lily's crusade for this legislation had begun 3 years earlier, when she'd met Sophia Chen at a Model United Nations conference. Sophia, now Lily's closest friend, had shared her own story of being caught in a bitter custody battle where her wishes had been ignored, resulting in her placement with an emotionally abusive parent. The girls had bonded over their shared experiences and vowed to change the system that failed so many children. By remarkable coincidence, Sophia turned out to be the niece of David Chen, Michael's attorney from the guardianship case. This connection had provided the girls with expert legal guidance as they developed their proposal. "Trevor will be here in 20 minutes to take us to the Capitol," Michael reminded her. Trevor, once Michael's assistant, was now the Foundation's chief operating officer and Lily's unofficial mentor. Lily nodded, checking her appearance one last time. "I'm going to grab my research binder." Dr. Harrison might ask about those statistics from the Michigan study again. As she headed back to her room, the doorbell rang. Rosa, who had remained with them through the years, answered it. "Miss Lily," Rosa called. "Someone here to see you and your father." Lily returned to the living room to find a tall, elegant woman in her 40s standing in the entryway. It took her a moment to recognize her mother. Rebecca Williams looked different from the glamorous model who had occasionally appeared for supervised visits during Lily's childhood. Her face had softened with age, her style more subdued. Most striking was her expression, less calculating, more genuine. "Rebecca," Michael said, clearly surprised. "We weren't expecting you." Rebecca smiled nervously. "I'm sorry to drop in unannounced. I saw the news about Lily's testimony today and..." She turned to her daughter. "I wanted to wish you luck." Lily's relationship with her mother had evolved over the years into something civil but distant. After the court case, Rebecca had initially kept to the visitation schedule, taking Lily for occasional weekends and holiday visits. As Lily grew older, these visits became less frequent by mutual choice. Rebecca had remarried and moved to California with her husband, a film producer, returning to New York only occasionally for work. "Thank you," Lily said politely. "The hearing starts at 11. An awkward silence fell. Rebecca broke it by reaching into her purse. "I brought something for you. I thought it might help today." She handed Lily a small velvet box. Inside was a pen, vintage silver with a delicate filigree pattern. "It belonged to my grandmother," Rebecca explained. "She was a journalist in the 1940s, one of the few women covering the war. She always said that words have power when they come from conviction." Lily examined the pen carefully, genuinely touched by the gesture. "Thank you, it's beautiful." "Your grandmother was Frances Williams?" Michael asked, surprised. "The Frances Williams who won a Pulitzer for her coverage of the Nuremberg trials?" Rebecca nodded. "Yes. I never really told you much about my family, did I?" She looked at Lily. "You come from a line of strong women on my side, too. I wish I had helped you see that sooner." The moment was interrupted by Trevor's arrival. "Car's ready whenever you are, Michael." "Oh, hello, Ms. Williams." Rebecca stepped back. "I should let you go. I just wanted to..." She hesitated. "I'm flying back to Los Angeles tonight, but I'd love to hear how the hearing goes." "I'll call you," Lily promised, surprising herself with the offer. After Rebecca left, Lily and Michael headed to the Capitol building, where Senator Eleanor Abernathy, a longtime advocate for children's rights, had championed their bill through committee. The marble hallways were intimidating, but Lily walked with confidence born from years of public speaking training and deeply personal conviction. The hearing room was packed with legislators, media, and advocacy groups on both sides of the issue. Some critics argued the bill gave children too much influence in adult legal matters. Supporters countered that children's voices were too often silenced in proceedings that determined their futures. When Lily's name was called to testify, she approached the microphone with the same composure she had shown in Judge Martinez's courtroom 8 years earlier. Only Michael noticed her fingers discreetly touching the silver lily bracelet for courage. "Senators, thank you for the opportunity to address this committee," Lily began. 8 years ago, I stood in a courtroom and fought for my right to stay with my father, the parent who had raised me, loved me, and put my needs above his own. I was 7 years old. She recounted her experience, careful to respect her mother's privacy while emphasizing the system's failures. I was lucky, she concluded. Judge Martinez listened to me, but many children aren't so fortunate. Their voices are dismissed, their experiences discounted, their wishes ignored, all because of arbitrary age restrictions and outdated notions about children's capacity to understand their own lives. Senator Harrison, the bill's primary opponent, leaned forward. "Miss Reynolds, while your personal story is compelling, don't you think there's a danger in giving children too much say in complex legal matters? Children can be easily influenced, emotionally reactive, and lack the maturity to understand long-term consequences." Lily met his gaze steadily. "Senator, I believe you're making the same mistake many adults make, confusing age with awareness. Children may lack legal knowledge or life experience, but they are experts in their own lived reality. They know who makes them feel safe, who listens to them, who puts their needs first." She continued with conviction. "This bill doesn't give children the final say. It simply ensures they have a say. It requires courts to consider children's testimony alongside other evidence, with appropriate weight given based on the child's maturity and circumstances. Most importantly, it provides every child with an independent advocate whose sole job is to represent the child's interests, not the parent's desires or the state's convenience. Senator Abernathy nodded approvingly as Lily addressed each challenge with research, statistics, and compelling examples of cases where children's voices had made crucial differences, or where ignoring them had led to tragic outcomes. When the committee voted 9-4 to advance the bill, the room erupted in applause. Reporters swarmed Lily for comments, but she navigated to her father's side, her expression a mixture of elation and exhaustion. "You were magnificent," Michael said proudly, as Trevor helped navigate his wheelchair through the crowd. "Absolutely magnificent." Outside, they found an unexpected figure waiting by their car, James Reynolds. Lily tensed. She had not seen her uncle since the courtroom battle 8 years ago. After his failed attempt to gain control of Rain Tech through the guardianship petition, James had left New York for Silicon Valley, where he had achieved moderate success with a series of tech startups. According to Business News, none had reached the heights of Rain Tech, but he had established himself as a player in the industry. "Michael, Lily," James nodded curtly. He had aged visibly, his hair now silver, lines etched deeply around his mouth. Quite a performance in there. Michael's expression remained neutral. "What do you want, James?" James held up his hands. "Not what you think. I'm not here to cause trouble." He looked at Lily with something resembling respect. "I saw the hearing notice in the paper. Thought I'd see what my niece has been up to." Lily regarded him warily. "And what did you think?" A hint of a smile crossed James's face. "I think you're every bit as formidable as you were at 7, maybe more so." He paused. "You remind me of our mother, Michael. Same fire." Michael seemed surprised by the comparison and by the lack of bitterness in James's tone. "Why are you really here, James?" James hesitated, then pulled an envelope from his jacket. "I've been following your foundation's work. It's impressive. I'd like to make a contribution." He handed the envelope to Lily, who opened it cautiously. Inside was a check for $5 million made out to the Reynolds Family Foundation. "Uncle James..." "It's not a trick," James interrupted, "and it comes with no strings attached." He looked at Michael. "Consider it partial repayment of an old debt." Michael studied his brother's face. "What changed, James?" James looked away. "Let's just say I've had time to reconsider some choices. Almost losing everything gives a man perspective." He glanced back at Lily. "And watching your niece eviscerate a US senator on C-SPAN makes you wonder what might have been different if you'd had someone fighting for you at that age." Before either Michael or Lily could respond, James nodded briskly and walked away. "Good luck with the full Senate vote," he called over his shoulder. "I'll be watching." That evening, as Michael and Lily celebrated the committee victory with a quiet dinner at home, Lily found herself reflecting on the day's unexpected encounters. "Do you think people really change?" she asked her father. "Mom seemed different today, even Uncle James." Michael considered the question thoughtfully. "I think people can change, but it usually requires a powerful catalyst, a significant loss, a moment of clarity, sometimes just the perspective that comes with time." He smiled gently. "Your mother and James may never become the people we wish they had been years ago, but that doesn't mean they can't become better versions of themselves now." Lily nodded, thinking of the vintage pen from her grandmother, the unexpected check from her uncle, the promise to call her mother. Small gestures perhaps, but meaningful in their way. "I've been thinking," she said tentatively. "After the Senate vote, regardless of how it goes, I want to expand our work. There are so many kids out there without resources, without anyone to speak for them." Michael's eyes shone with pride. "Whatever you decide, I'm with you all the way. The foundation is as much yours as mine." Lily reached across the table to squeeze her father's hand, acutely aware of how the roles in their relationship had shifted over the years. She was no longer just the child being protected, but increasingly a partner in their shared mission, and in some ways her father's protector as his health declined. That night before bed, Lily called Rebecca as promised, sharing details of the hearing and committee vote. Their conversation was still somewhat stilted, marked by the years of distance, but it contained moments of genuine connection that had been absent before. After hanging up, Lily sat at her desk, turning her grandmother's silver pen in her fingers. On impulse, she opened her journal, the modern equivalent of the composition book she had carried to court as a child, and began to write. Today, I testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee about the bill that bears my name. It was terrifying and exhilarating, just like that day in court 8 years ago when I declared myself my daddy's lawyer. The difference is that now, I'm fighting not just for myself, but for all the children whose voices deserve to be heard. As she wrote, Lily had no way of knowing that in Washington, Senator Abernathy was already working the phones, securing commitments for the full Senate vote. Nor could she know that in California, Rebecca was making plans to attend that vote, or that in Silicon Valley, James Reynolds was researching child advocacy organizations with an eye toward more substantial involvement. The ripples from her courage as a 7-year-old continued to spread outward, touching lives far beyond her own family, a legacy she was only beginning to understand. 6 years later, on a crisp October morning, 21-year-old Lily Reynolds stood on the steps of the Supreme Court, surrounded by reporters, advocates and families whose lives had been transformed by the Lily Reynolds Child Advocacy Act. The legislation, passed by Congress when Lily was 16, had dramatically reformed family court proceedings across the nation, ensuring children's voices were heard and their interests protected by independent advocates. Today marked another milestone. The court had just upheld the Act's constitutionality in a landmark 7-2 decision, rejecting challenges from parental rights groups who had claimed it undermined traditional family authority structures. This ruling affirms what we've always believed, Lily told the assembled press, her voice steady and confident. Children deserve a meaningful voice in decisions that shape their lives. They deserve advocates who are unequivocally committed to their well-being. And they deserve a legal system that treats them as individuals with rights, not as property to be allocated. At 21, Lily carried herself with the poise of someone much older. Her law school professors at Columbia frequently commented that she seemed to have been born for the courtroom, combining analytical precision with genuine empathy, a rare combination in the legal world. Currently in her second year, she had already distinguished herself as editor of the Law Review and founder of the Children's Rights Clinic, which provided pro bono representation to minors in family court. As she fielded questions from reporters, Lily caught sight of a familiar figure watching from the periphery of the crowd, Judge Eleanor Martinez, now retired from the bench and serving as a special advisor to the Reynolds Family Foundation. Lily concluded her remarks and made her way to the judge who had changed her life all those years ago. "Judge Martinez, I didn't know you were coming to Washington." The older woman embraced her warmly. "I wouldn't have missed this for the world, Lily. From that little girl in my courtroom to arguing before the Supreme Court, well, by proxy at least. While Lily hadn't personally argued the case, she was still a law student after all. She had worked closely with the Foundation's legal team, providing insights that shaped their arguments. Many commentators had noted that the court's opinion cited principles Lily had first articulated as a teenager testifying before Congress. "Is Michael watching the coverage?" Judge Martinez asked. A shadow crossed Lily's face. "Yes, at home with the medical team. He wanted to come, but his doctors advised against it. The new treatment protocol is promising, but travel is difficult right now." Michael's condition had deteriorated significantly over the past year. The secondary progressive phase of his MS had accelerated, leaving him with minimal mobility and increasing respiratory challenges. Yet his mind remained as sharp as ever, and he continued to guide the Foundation's strategic direction, albeit from the specially equipped home office in their townhouse. "We're having a small celebration dinner tonight," Lily added. "Just family and close friends. Would you join us? Dad would be thrilled to see you." Judge Martinez squeezed her hand. "I'd be honored." As they walked toward Lily's waiting car, a sleek black Tesla with accessibility modifications, the judge commented, "I saw Rebecca gave a statement to the Times about the ruling. Quite supportive." Lily smiled. "Yes, she's actually become one of our more effective advocates in California. She has connections in the entertainment industry that have helped amplify our message." The relationship between mother and daughter had evolved into something neither could have predicted. While they would never have the close bond Lily shared with Michael, they had forged a connection based on mutual respect and shared commitment to the Foundation's work. Rebecca had remarried twice more and divorced again, eventually finding stability with a film director who shared her newly discovered passion for social causes. And James, the judge inquired. Uncle James continues to surprise us, Lily replied. His tech incubator for foster youth is expanding nationwide, and he's been instrumental in developing the app that connects kids in the system with pro bono legal representation. After their unexpected reconciliation 6 years earlier, James had gradually become more involved in the Reynolds family's advocacy work. While he and Michael maintained a certain wariness around each other, their shared interest in child welfare had created common ground neither had thought possible. That evening, the Reynolds townhouse buzzed with quiet celebration. Michael presided from his specialized medical bed, which had been moved to the dining room for the occasion. Despite the oxygen support and medical equipment surrounding him, he dominated the gathering with his intellectual presence and dry humor. To the Supreme Court, Nathan Cooper toasted, raising his glass, for finally recognizing what we've known since Lily was 7, that children deserve to be heard. And to Lily, David Chen added, his hair now gray but his eyes still kind, the most formidable junior counsel I've ever had the privilege to work with. Lily, seated beside her father's bed, blushed at the attention. At the table were the people who had become her extended family over the years: David and his wife, Nathan and his husband, Patricia Goodman, who had become the Foundation's Director of Advocacy, Trevor and his fiancée, Dr. Sarah Bennett, who now headed the Psychological Services Division of their program, Judge Martinez, and even Rosa, who had retired from housekeeping but remained part of their inner circle. James arrived late, apologizing as he entered with a bouquet of lilies and a bottle of champagne. Rebecca had sent her regrets, calling earlier from a film set in Vancouver with congratulations. As the evening progressed, Michael grew noticeably tired but insisted on remaining present for the celebration. When the guests began to depart, he asked for a moment alone with Lily. "I have something for you," he said once they were alone, his voice weaker than it had been earlier. He gestured toward the drawer in his bedside table. Lily opened it to find a small blue velvet box. Inside was a signet ring bearing the Reynolds family crest, a piece she recognized from childhood memories of her father wearing it during important business meetings. "Dad, this is your ring." Michael smiled. "And now it's yours. My father gave it to me when I took over Raintech. His father gave it to him when he started the original company. It's tradition." Lily slipped it onto her right hand where it sat heavy but somehow right. "But Raintech has professional management now. You're still chairman of the board." "The ring isn't about Raintech anymore," Michael explained. "It's about legacy. And my legacy isn't the company, it's you and everything you're building." His breathing grew labored, but he continued. "The foundation, the act, the thousands of children who will have better lives because of what you started, that's what matters." Tears filled Lily's eyes. "We started it together." "No." Michael shook his head slightly. "It began with you. Standing up in that courtroom, having the courage to speak truth to power." He reached for her hand with weakened fingers. "I'm so proud of you, Lily Pad. So proud of the woman you've become." Lily leaned forward to kiss his forehead. "I had a pretty good example to follow." Later that night, after ensuring Michael was comfortably settled with his night nurse in attendance, Lily retreated to her childhood bedroom. Though she maintained an apartment near Columbia's campus, she had moved home when Michael's condition worsened, wanting to maximize their time together. On her desk sat a framed photograph, the original news image from outside the courthouse 13 years ago, showing 7-year-old Lily with her purple backpack, holding Michael's hand as they left the final hearing. Beside it was a more recent photo of them at the White House, witnessing the president signing the Lily Reynolds Act into law. She picked up the silver pen her mother had given her and opened her journal. For years, she had maintained this practice, documenting the journey that had begun with that first courageous stand. These private writings had eventually formed the foundation for her memoir, My Daddy's Lawyer, published the previous year to critical acclaim and now being adapted as a feature film. Today, the highest court in the land affirmed what a scared 7-year-old somehow knew instinctively, she wrote, that children matter, that their voices deserve to be heard, that sometimes the smallest person in the room might have the most important thing to say. Lily paused, reflecting on the path that had led her to this moment. The courtroom battle had been just the beginning. There had been challenges along the way. Michael's declining health, the political fights to pass and defend the act, balancing her education with her advocacy work, navigating complex family dynamics with Rebecca and James. Yet through it all, the bond between father and daughter had remained unbreakable. Michael had kept his promise from that night before the final hearing. He had never stopped fighting for her, even as their roles gradually shifted and she increasingly became his protector and advocate. She continued writing, "Dad always says courage isn't about being fearless. It's about doing what's right despite your fear. I was terrified that day in court, but I knew what was right. I knew who truly loved me, who put my needs first, who would never abandon me. That knowledge gave me a voice when others would have silenced me. It gave me strength when adults dismissed me as just a child. And it taught me that age doesn't determine wisdom or worth. Sometimes the truth is so clear that even a child can see it when adults are blinded by greed or ambition." She closed the journal and walked to the window, looking out at the Manhattan skyline glittering against the night sky. In her reflection, she could see traces of both her parents. Rebecca's elegant features softened by Michael's warmth and determination in her eyes. The next morning, Lily would return to law school classes. The following weekend, she would fly to California to speak at a conference on juvenile justice reform. Next month, she would testify before a UN Committee on Children's Rights, sharing the American experience under the act that bore her name. Her life had become a whirlwind of advocacy, education, and increasingly, preparation for the difficult transition that Michael's declining health foreshadowed. Yet in this quiet moment, Lily felt a profound sense of peace and purpose. The frightened 7-year-old with a purple backpack had grown into a powerful voice for children worldwide. The improvised declaration, "I'm my daddy's lawyer," had evolved into a lifelong mission to ensure every child had someone fighting just as fiercely for them. As Lily prepared for bed, her phone chimed with a text message. It was from Rebecca. "Just saw the court coverage. You were magnificent. Your grandmother Frances would be so proud, I know I am." Lily smiled and typed back a simple, "Thank you." Another chime, this one from James. "The tech team finished the new advocacy app, ready to launch next month. Your father's suggestions made it twice as effective." She responded with a thumbs-up emoji and a promise to review the final version. A third message arrived from Nathan. "Don't forget, Foundation Board meeting Tuesday. Michael insists on attending via video link." Typical Dad, Lily thought fondly. Even now, he refused to step back from the work that had become their shared mission. As she drifted towards sleep, Lily's mind returned to that pivotal moment in the courtroom 13 years ago, a moment that had changed not just her life, but the lives of countless children who would never know her name, but would benefit from the doors she had opened. In her dreams that night, she was 7 again, standing before Judge Martinez with her purple backpack and unwavering conviction. But this time she wasn't alone. Behind her stood a line of children of all ages, each finding their voice, each ready to speak their truth. And leading them forward was a young girl with determined eyes and a voice clear as a bell declaring, "I am my own advocate." 5 years later, Lily Reynolds stood on the steps of the Capitol building, surrounded by reporters and supporters. At 26, she had just been sworn in as the youngest member of the United States Senate, representing New York after a historic campaign focused on family rights, healthcare reform, and technological innovation. She wore 2 significant pieces of jewelry: the silver lily bracelet her father had given her before that fateful court hearing, and the Reynolds family signet ring. Michael had lived to see her graduate from law school with highest honors, but had passed peacefully 2 years earlier, surrounded by family and secure in the knowledge that his greatest legacy would continue to flourish. "Senator Reynolds," called a reporter, "your journey began at age 7 in a New York courtroom. Did you ever imagine it would lead you here?" Lily smiled, her expression reflecting the perfect balance of her past and her future. "Life takes unexpected turns, but I learned early on that when you speak truth with conviction, when you stand up for what's right even when you're afraid, you can change more than just your own story. You can change the world." As she prepared to enter the Senate chamber for the first time, Lily thought of her father and the promise that had started it all. "I am my daddy's lawyer." Now she was so much more: advocate, author, foundation, president, and senator. But in her heart, she would always be that brave little girl who refused to be silenced, who fought for her family with nothing but truth and love as her weapons. And somewhere she knew Michael Reynolds was watching with immeasurable pride.